Everyone has a favorite content creator. Maybe someone who makes you laugh, maybe someone who inspires you, or maybe it's someone who got you through the rough times in your life. Someone has come to mind for each person watching this. Names like Markiplier, Madrybread, even PewDiePie. But for me, the person that comes to mind is Yuri of Wind. I stumbled across his channel back when I was 14. Oddly, the year in my life that I seem to miss the most. That'll come back in a second. 2013 was the year that I, like a lot of people, started really getting into creepypastas. Personally, I never cared for the likes of Smile Dog, Slenderman, or Jeff the Killer. What I was interested in was video game creepypastas, specifically games that I played and enjoyed, which, despite how often I played games, was not exactly an expansive library. Regardless, my main interest was Pokemon creepypastas, the most cliché of them all. Among three main YouTube channels that I came across and enjoyed for this, one man stood above, and that was Yuri of Wind and his Bullshit Creepypasta Storytime segment. Now, Bullshit Creepypasta Storytime was an evolution of a previous segment that Yuri did, which was a creepypasta-themed version of his main segment, Gaming Mysteries, being referred to as Creepy Gaming Mysteries. I initially ignored all his non-Pokemon videos and simply listened to the likes of The Man and His Pokemon and Pokemon Hollow. The latter had me laughing so hard at a sarcastic line from Yuri that I got in trouble because I'd been listening on my school iPad in class.
But by then, I knew that this was a hacked game. Me author, me smart, I smart author, intelligence, good brain thinking.
To this day, I still grin at that line. Another one I feel is worth mentioning, because it once again made me laugh while I was in class and got myself in trouble, is...
He soon believed that this was a hacked version of Pokemon Red that he had come across, which made him excited. Yeah, let's ignore the old man giving you a weird hacked game and just get all stoked about it. Woohoo, this game could be full of cocaine and you're excited. What's wrong with you?
That's hilarious, and I'll never not find that funny. Funny sarcasm aside, there's a lot of reasons why I connected with his videos. For one, they were entertaining as hell for a stupid 14-year-old, but more importantly, Yuri of Wind tended to talk in his videos like he was an older brother or a really cool older friend who knew a bunch of secrets about the beta versions of different games, or a crazy bootleg game from China or somewhere else. Usually China, though. In an odd way, I started to feel like I almost had an older brother, something I had always wanted, but never got to have. Obviously, I know I'm not a relative of his, but again, the way that he talks to the viewer and the fact that he's only about 4 years older than I am gave off that kind of vibe. I related to him because of the way he'd open up about his life a lot of the time, and it would match up with my life in a lot of ways. He'd mentioned dealing with depression and anxiety, two mental health issues that I grew up with and still have. He mentioned a few times in a lot of his videos how he'd have to put up with bullies, which I had to do with throughout the entirety of my time in school. I felt like I wasn't alone. There are people just like me, and hey, they're still kicking, so why should I give up? The more I listened to his videos, the more interested I was in the other games that he covered, which got me into things like Animal Crossing, Mario, Star Fox, and eventually Persona, which is now one of my favorite game series of all time. He even introduced me to my favorite show of all time, Kamen Rider. I hadn't watched much of it back when I was 14. I only saw the first part of Dragon Knight, and I almost wrote it off as a Power Rangers thing, like most people tend to do. Except I still gave it a chance, unlike most people, and I fell in love with the show. So, I don't suck. Yay me. I could go into Kamen Rider and Super Sentai, which is what Power Rangers is poorly adapting, but I'll save that for if you want to hear my insane raving of tokusatsu and incredibly opinionated ranting. You can probably tell at this point that a lot of my personality and interests are heavily inspired by him, which I think makes sense given the fact that I've been watching and listening to him for over a decade at this point. But there's one more thing that I got introduced to by him, even as an adult, and it's become a cornerstone of my personality and interests. I caught a stream of his in I believe 2021 or 2022, a stream in which he was singing different songs. One of these songs caught my attention and I rushed to look it up. That song was My Heroine by Silverstein. I was a little put off by scream vocals at first, but I started to enjoy the music myself. I felt the emotions of the music, man, it spoke to me. And eventually I figured out how to do the scream vocals myself. I'm not going to do it in this video. I might do a cover of some of Silverstein's songs, but you'll have to wait and see. It's up to me if I decide. Silverstein quickly became my favorite band of all time, and I was even lucky enough to see them on tour back in February. Unironically, the greatest night of my life. All these things that shaped me to who I am now as an adult, all these things that, if I'm honest, gave me a reason to live at some points when I genuinely wanted to die, I wouldn't have known about them if it weren't for Yuri of Wind. Hell, making videos on YouTube wouldn't be something I gave a damn about if it weren't for him. There's so much I have him to thank for, and I don't know if it'll ever be enough. It broke my heart earlier this year when he announced he was retiring. YouTube was never really great at getting his videos out to fans, and his health was never the best. When he announced his retirement, he mentioned burnout as well as early onset Parkinson's. I can't imagine it's very fun making videos when you're dealing with all that, not to mention everything else he's gone through up to this point. Yuri's retirement hit a lot of fans in his Discord really hard. I'm by no means the only one who grew up with his videos and discovered new interests thanks to him. So I decided that since I grew up learning and adopting his sarcasm, that I would sort of adopt 2 of his segments as well, as I'd like to move away from just playing video games and make something that I enjoy more, which is talking about video games. So after this video goes up, I'll be putting out my own bullshit creepypasta storytime segment called Spooky Finger Puppet Storytime, inspired by his meme, Spooky Finger Puppet Ghost Month. At some point, I'll also be putting out videos under the other segment, Investigaming, obviously inspired by gaming mysteries. I know I can never be Yuri of Wind, and I don't ever intend to be his replacement. I'm just a fan who grew up with so much of his influence that it shaped who I've become, and I'm so grateful for that. My goal in this, I suppose, is to introduce people to cool stuff that they might not have heard of, like what Yuri of Wind did for me. If you're at all interested in his content, I implore you, please give his videos a watch. He's extremely entertaining, and his videos taught me a lot of things that still hold my interest to this day. I'll put his channel and some of my favorite videos of his in the description. He's done so much for me, and I can never thank him enough for that. Everyone has a favorite content creator. Maybe someone who makes you laugh. Maybe someone who inspires you. Or maybe, just maybe, it's someone who got you through the rough times in your life. Yuri of Wind did all these things for me. So thank you, Andrew, for everything. You've dealt with so much and took it in stride, and you deserve all the love and support in the world, even if you don't believe it. If you're watching, remember that there's always people who love and care about you. I wouldn't be me if it weren't for you, and that means the world to me.